Australia's ambassador to Holy See, women diplomats in Vatican, a formidable group. Marking the annual International Day of Women in Diplomacy, Chiara Porro, Australian ambassador to the Holy See, speaks of the challenges and rewards of the job and of the crucial perspective women bring to international relations. "It's wonderful to be celebrating women in diplomacy each year," says Chiara Porro, Australia's ambassador to the Holy See, marking the annual International Day of Women in Diplomacy, celebrated every 24th of June. She notes that the diplomatic service has been traditionally male-dominated and recalls her first day of work in the Foreign Service in Australia, walking down a corridor, decorated only, with portraits of men. "It's intimidating," she says, "and that's particularly because you can't be what you can't see." However, she continues, the Australian Foreign Service is one that has addressed this issue head-on, and over the last 6 years there has been a real push to promote women in leadership. The figures show this, as 5 or 6 years ago women made up only 20% of their ambassadors, whereas now we make up over 40% of all our ambassadors around the world. "Men and women working together bring diversity," says Chiara Porro. She notes that women can obviously bring a different perspective, based on their gender, but stresses how important it is not to stereotype women. "We're not all the same," she says. "We bring a variety of different qualities, as do men. In diplomacy, we represent the face of our country, and it is extremely important that we represent the diversity of it, too," says Ambassador Porro. In this regard, she continues, "Women enable us to reach parts of society around the world that are not always accessible to men." Ambassador Porro highlights the importance of diversity when dealing with conflict and development issues. "We know that women are always the first and most severely affected during conflict, during humanitarian disasters, and so having women working in diplomacy, leading diplomatic efforts is incredibly important to be able to reach those who are most affected in these situations." Representing First Nations people. Representing the diverse face of the nation as ambassador, in Australia also means representing the voice of the many First Nations people in the country. Ambassador Porro notes that Australia is home to the oldest continuous living culture in the world, adding that we are extremely proud of this tradition and culture. "It's become very much a central part of our foreign policy to ensure that our First Nations heritage and culture is known around the world. It makes us who we are, and so it's incredibly important for us to bring these Indigenous voices to the world stage," she says. Pope Francis has been very vocal and active throughout his pontificate on preserving and protecting the rights of Indigenous peoples across the world.